Being an educated person, I just could not believe I got myself in a situation like that.
Every 2.5 minutes, someone is sexually assaulted.
Sexual assault, rape, no means no, and that's it, period.
2/3 of victims know their attacker.
If they are laying their hands on you, if they are verbally abusing you, that is abuse. Either way.
Every 15 seconds, someone is abused.
He seemed like the perfect guy, you know, to her at the time, being young. First date, he picks her up in a limo, you know, within a short period of time, you know, they're together all the time. So he's really like too good to be true.
In the United States, domestic violence is the leading cause of injury to women between the ages of 15 and 44, more than car accidents, muggings, and rapes combined. How much is enough?
Domestic violence is a situation many times where it takes the battered individual 6 or 7 or 8 times before they finally decide that they can leave.
Domestic violence and sexual assault are two of the most chronically underreported crimes.
Let them understand what the cycle of violence really is, because most of the magistrates had never heard of it.
1 in 6 women have experienced attempted or complete rape. 2/3 of victims know their attacker. Only 1/4 of all physical assaults and 1/5 of all rapes against females by intimate partners are reported to the police.
Women are more than 3 times as likely to be murdered by an intimate partner than by a stranger.
Because the only thing you really want to do as a parent is there's one thing, you want to undo it. Everything that happens with the courts, everything, all the process. The only thing that you want to do is you want to undo what happened, and you can't.
Approximately 20% of the 1.5 million people who experience intimate partner violence annually obtain civil protection orders.
I think it's an epidemic, and it's one that we don't talk about because that happens to someone else. It happens in different neighborhoods. It doesn't happen in East Cobb, but it happens everywhere.
74% of Americans know a victim of domestic violence and/or sexual assault. Your neighbor, your coworker, your best friend, your daughter, perhaps even you. How much is enough?
People think that, you know, that doesn't happen in my neighborhood. That only happens in the poor neighborhoods, or, you know, from a domestic violence standpoint, when the reality is it knows no barriers. There's no socioeconomic barriers. There's no race barriers. It could happen to anybody.
Domestic violence and sexual assault are equal opportunity victimizers, crossing all racial lines, breaking all ethnic barriers, rich, poor, educated, uneducated. 1 in 4 women, including women you know, are affected by domestic assault. 1 in 6 are affected by sexual assault.
For example, the thing that made me seek help is basically my daughter. You know, I wanted to set up an example for her to know that certain things are just unacceptable.
My family had no idea. They would have no one, no friends knew, nobody knew. Bruises were covered up with clothes, or they were put on my head where you couldn't see them.
I got involved with the YWCA because as a younger lady, she was abused for many years and I wasn't even aware of it. And over time, it became apparent that there were lots of women who were being abused who didn't know they had choices.
The YWCA is the only domestic violence shelter serving Cobb County and the only shelter housing women and their children.
We assess it from the standpoint of what are the needs of the victim. Does the victim need immediate medical attention? And then once we get all that taken care of and everything's calmed down and the investigation begins, we also have to take a look at resources that we don't have available to us, but maybe the YWCA has available. From the standpoint mostly of domestic violence, it's a family-oriented situation where you have to make sure that the family is cared for. Yes, we make the arrest, but that only takes care of one small portion of that situation where there's needs and resources necessary ongoing.
So if we don't break that cycle by providing a safe place for the family to come, the mother to bring her children, then how are we ever going to stop the cycle of violence?
And the Y provides legal assistance to women who need orders of protection to create a barrier between her and her abuser.
For over 20 years, the YWCA of Northwest Georgia has helped victims of sexual assault.
There's one place where you're going to go. There is a nurse examiner who is on call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and it gives us the ability to gather the evidence we need at that time so that we can prosecute the individual if and or when they are arrested.
The ability to gain the services that the YWCA provided for her were fortunately at no cost to her or to anybody else.
How much is enough?
There is an organization that you can come to, that you can reach out to, that's a safe place for you to come. The YWCA of Northwest Georgia's service area is predominantly Cobb County. We have the only domestic violence shelter in Cobb County with a population of close to 750,000 people. We also provide sexual assault services for Cobb, Cherokee, and Paulding counties. We work with law enforcement, the DA's office, and WellStar Health System to provide those services to victims of sexual assault.
How much is enough? To show you see them, to show you hear them, to show you care.